Hello and welcome to the Lair of Lore. I am Steven.
And I'm Miriam.
Yay, we did almost like we planned that.
Wait, I thought we were the Labyrinth of Lore, not the Lair of Lore.
Oops, sorry, we are the Labyrinth of Lore, which is a Lair of Lore podcast.
We almost did it.
Almost like we planned it. It's late. I already worked today and I have to work tomorrow. I don't care anymore.
Midterms.
You also have to work tomorrow.
I do.
Yeah.
And I have midterms. I have to do it's 2 jobs tomorrow.
Oh, have fun with that.
Yay!
I was just going to say that I know you have to work tomorrow because that's the reason why I get to come in and leave early. Yay!
Yay! Remember, you actually like me.
Remind me to talk about at the end, bits and bobs, about oh god. So, I won a culinary competition, which means now I have to go to more, and they're having me practice. It's not fun.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I am trained as a baker, not as a cook. It didn't go super well. Like, the food was good. I could have almost killed someone, but we'll go over that in the bits and bobs.
That's okay. I'll remind you.
Thank you.
Much like work.
So, we are the Labyrinth of Lore, a lore, vorthos, story, flavor, art, whatever you want to call it, focused podcast. And
essentially, if we think it's cool, we're going to talk about it.
Pretty much. We very much like storytelling in general. We especially like the way that art and flavor text and even just the way cards work can be used to tell the story, which frankly is what most of this episode is going to be about.
So sit back and relax and enjoy this new podcast.
Yep. But before we start that, last episode went over all of the magic stories for Innistrad that had been out at all. Of course, because we record on Tuesdays, immediately another one came out as soon as we were done. So, do you want to talk about that one? Because you told me who was in it, and I immediately went, I'm not going to read that right now.
Yeah, I think of the two of us, I was the only one who was like, well, we should just at least see what's going on.
I was going to look at it, and then you said, you told me it's a Jace thing, and I went, I don't care anymore, bye.
Like, it literally talks about it in the, there's a little, with any of the official magic stories, there's, a little teeny tiny almost like flavor text of its own for describing what is happening, or what happened last time. So, essentially, Jace, in the last story, The Mystery of Markov Manor, was looking for Soren Markov, and he was exploring the twisted remains of Markov Manor, where he found
he had a Jean Grey syndrome.
Yes, we'll put it that way.
A bunch of screaming people in his head made him go a little bit crazy.
Much like Avacyn herself.
Just less murderous.
Anyway. In The Mystery of Markov Manor, Jace finds a journal, which we believe to be Tomio's journal, as there actually is a card in the artifacts for this set called Tomio's Journal, and it refers to...
No, it's Tomio's journal.
They don't go right out and say. They describe neat calligraphy.
But we know that he has Tomio's journal in some of the cards, so I think that's it. I still want to know why this random dude who's stuck in Markov Manor had it, but...
Exactly. So right now he is looking for more information about Soren, kind of what's going on the plane, essentially doing what Jace likes to do best, is find information about what's going on. So right now he's currently exploring Gavany, which is a region, I believe.
It's sort of one of the... It's generally supposed to be a green-white region. It's human-focused, sort of civilized, but still has, natural elements. It's not like Thraben, which is the big cathedral city that is generally connected with, green-white and black-white, black-blue.
I believe the Ulvenwald Forest is near that somewhere.
Ulvenwald is sort of, if I remember correctly, it's basically Ulvenwald is the thing that surrounds Kessig, and that you have to go through, to go from Gavany to Kessig, you have to go through the Uvenwald.
That's what I was thinking, because they reference it in the very first story, and I'm like, I want a map somewhere. A map would be lovely of where everything is.
Well, you do that,
maps
see
are awesome.
if there is one, because I thought they put out one at some point.
So as Steven is currently looking for the map, which is kind of awesome, Jace is reading the journal and kind of exploring the region of Gavany. Like, the story itself is peppered with different entries where it looks like Tamio is essentially trying to figure out what is going on Innistrad, with the lycanthropes, with the angels, with all of it. Like, she, in the first entry, she is given the corpse of a werewolf, and she does an autopsy, she talks about the anatomy being different, things like that, as I'm trying to think of a good way to explain it. Essentially, the whole entire story is him exploring, peppered with journal entries. So he stumbles upon a cryptolith and is like, I'm gonna follow it. I'm gonna figure out where it's going because it's making weird buzzing noises, and he finds...
That sounds like the best idea ever.
He touches it, too. Like, he's like, I don't know what this is. Touch. And it, like, zaps him. Because that's logical. I don't know what it is. Let me touch it with a bare hand and see what it actually is. That's real smart. So let's see. Literally, this is just him exploring, things like that. It got a little weird towards the end, like it wasn't very clear. So he makes it into a town near Gavany, like a village, but there's a place called the Drown Yard, and he comes upon a ring of cryptoliths in the Drown Yard. Actually, there's a full art for that, the Epiphany at the Drown Yard, which is one of the cards. And he gets information from, like, this fisherwoman who's, like, kind of going nut jobs. He's seeing, like, these weird duplicates. He's having another, like, Jean Grey style meltdown, for lack of a better word. Yeah, and these duplicates are, like, causing him trouble. It was really confusing. I honestly think I need to read it again to figure out what exactly is happening. But essentially, Jace has found the Drown Yard. There's a big old ring of cryptoliths with what looks like a portal.
There's a card that does this. Is it Drown Yard Temple?
Yes, exactly. So you can kind of see it in Epiphany at the Drown Yard, and then you can also see it in Drown Yard Temple. And this has, like, full art for this, and it's actually really cool.
I'm just going to point out, the Drown Yard Temple has the dumbest flavor text that basically surmises why I don't like Jace, which is, this is it. All the cryptoliths point to here. Jace Beleren. It's like, yes, they all point to here. It's a giant circle in the middle of goddamn nowhere.
Yeah.
Literally, you could have asked, I think someone on the mana pool mentioned this, like, you could have just asked anyone on Innistrad, what's with these things? It's like, but there's a big circle of them at Defalia, and they all point that way.
Exactly, and also the fact that he's like, I don't know what this is. I'm going to touch it. Because that's really smart.
That is rather literally how the Eldrazi got released initially.
Wow.
Although I'm pretty sure in that case it was... I know it made very little sense because it was a bunch of people's faults, but the basic idea is that it somehow was Jace, Sarkhan, Chandra, and kind of Nissa's fault.
Yeah. No, he's not...
Because they poke things.
It's like, don't touch it! If you don't know what it is, don't touch it. He's like a little child who is trying to explore something, so if you don't know what it is, you stick it in your mouth.
But it can't hurt me. I'm Jace. I'm the main character.
I very nearly very nearly dropped a curse word right there, so be proud of me. What a bloody idiot.
Yup. However, I will also point out that Drown Yard Temple is now the most recent wallpaper, and it actually looks pretty sweet.
No, it's like, as I said, the full art is really cool. It's cool to see the details. It's kind of awesome because it looks like there's lightning collecting on the edges of some of the cryptoliths.
Yeah, and it seems to be spreading between them as well.
Yeah. So it's going to be kind of cool. It's like, and what's going to happen next?
It's probably going to be a portal.
I'm kind of thinking there's a portal because there's a big glowy light in the middle. Usually when there's a big glowy light in the middle, something's going to come like busting out of it. Like,
yeah, and we've established that Nahiri is using the cryptoliths to somehow manipulate the mana of Zendikar.
Liliana is too, to a certain extent.
I assume that Nahiri has basically set it up specifically for herself, and anything beyond that is just other people taking advantage of something that's already being done.
Essentially, she's smashed through a wall, but that doesn't mean other people can't get through the cracks.
Yeah, like the way is now open. I think very much she's trying to sort of create the bizarre. Zendikar was well known because it had this very strange mana that just shifted constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Namely, it had this thing called the Royal that was this empowering force that just moved across the entire continent and would just reshape the land as it passed by because it was just the mana was chaotic. So I assume she's trying to do something like that because they used the weird, crazy mana to draw the Eldrazi to Zendikar the first time.
You know what this portal keeps making me think of? You know in Avengers when the other world, for some reason I can't remember what they're called.
Chitauri.
Yes, the Chitauri are like busting through a portal.
Yep.
It's what it makes me think of. I'm kind of terrified to know what's going to come busting through that portal because I'm just like, it's not going to be good.
See, and I'm pretty sure I have an idea what's coming through, but at the same time, I don't know what it's going to look like through the lens of Innistrad versus Zendikar.
There's a card that makes me think. Darn it, let me find the silly card, and I will draw your attention to it, because I think that's what's going to come through the portal. It's going to be scary. It's going to suck for all who have to encounter it.
Well, while you look for that, I have found a couple of maps for Innistrad. There's never been an officially released one. There's one that I'm hating less than the others, mostly because it actually has Kessig and Gavany next to each other. Though I don't like that it's got Thraben at the exact center of Gavany, so... But it's better than some of the other ones that are like... It has Gavany up in like the top... It just makes very little sense. None of them make a hell of a lot of sense, but this is the least... The one that fills me with the least hatred.
Oh, by the way, I got a booster pack over the weekend that I opened, so I should... It's kind of fun. I'm also being really good because Alex ordered a booster box.
And you're not opening any of them?
I have literally opened the box that it was shipped in, but I have not touched anything in there. So I am being incredibly well behaved and showing enormous self-restraint.
I'm just looking at this and going like, wow, thank God we don't have anything weird like the Dominaria map where they actually established where all the things were, and it was a massive pain in the butt.
Bugger in hell, where is it? Like, I'm trying to find it. Like, it looked like... For some reason, it made me think of the Eldrazi, which is why I think that's what's going to come through. If I can find the stupid thing.
Oh, and I finally figured out why exactly it is that I keep mispronouncing Ormendahl as Ormenthal, because like 2 other podcasters who I listen to have been saying Ormendahl or Ormenthal. God, son of... And I mean,
that's not it. That's not his name.
I think we have sufficiently established that his name is actually just, and it's not even just me. Every other podcast who I've listened to talk about him is just like, no, his name is totally Ormendahl. You have to do like a voice with it. Like
it doesn't saying Ormendahl. That's not promoting.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, he took over for Grizzlebrand. It's like Ormendahl. Like you almost have to like rasp it deep in your throat like a guttural voice and just breathe through it.
Plus, that card is actually seeing a bunch of play.
I actually drew one.
Oh, nice.
No, I didn't. Actually, I didn't. Sorry, my older brother did. I was in Penn State, and we stumbled across a comic book store that we had been to before, which was kind of awesome. And he bought one of the pre-release boxes that they had. And not only did he get that, he also got Jace and some other really cool cards. Nice. I believe it's the Wandering... What is it? It's like a cathedral. Where are you?
The one I'm thinking of Westvale Abbey, but that's the one that turns into Ormondor.
That's what he pulled.
Oh yeah, Westvale Abbey.
He pulled Westvale Abbey. I'm sorry. I'm still like slightly on East Coast time. Getting better at it, but like not that better.
I'm just realizing that I forgot that they stopped doing the Planeswalkers Guide articles. I really miss those.
Okay, since I can't find what it is, which is wondering if I had like a strange fever dream of this, because it was like really cool. It made me think, based on the shape of it made me think kind of Eldrazi-esque.
Ah.
Which is why I'm wondering if it's a flip card, but I will find out. If I do find it, I will point it out and be like, this was the thing.
Okay.
So
do you want to move on to our actual topic for the week?
Yes, flavor decks.
No. That's next week.
Oh, whoops.
It's the flavor of the mechanics.
Ah, yes.
Oops.
I definitely prepped for next week this week.
Well, then do you really
Take it away,
want
Steven.
to? Well, no. Do you want to talk about the brief rundown of what we're going to be doing next week? Since we were going to talk about it a little bit anyway.
Sure. And I feel like as you start to talk about it, it will click in my brain, and I will have something constructive to say.
Okay.
Oops. Okay, so the framework of a skeletal deck that I'm building right now is I'm calling the Innistrad Undead, which is primarily a blue-black deck with vampires and zombies.
I'm so confused.
Why?
Because that's not what we talked about last time.
Did we? I might have gotten a weird idea in my head. This is possible.
Yeah, because the initial idea was that you were going to be designing the Inquisition/mob hunting down the werewolves.
Ah, yes, that's what it was. I couldn't remember if I talked about doing that, or I also had the idea for a vampire zombie deck. I can do both.
Let's focus on... I have already built most of the werewolf deck, so let's focus on the Inquisitor. Basic idea is that next week we will be playing 2 different decks against each other through some sort of means. Namely, we are designing decks flavorfully that will pull cards only from this set and the previous Innistrad block. Probably not too much from Avacyn Restored, but we'll just have to wait and see. I just don't think a lot of the cards are going to fit with our themes. I think I saw 1 or 2 that fit with mine. Basic idea that we're doing is the Inquisition and the mob that they have whipped up to chase down the werewolves versus the werewolves trying not to die. Yeah. Mostly by killing people first.
Pretty much. So a lot of playing human characters and angelic characters to kind of see how it'll go. And there's also some really cool flip cards that would work really well for this, like Abyssinian missionaries turning to Lunarch Inquisitors.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, which we think will be really fun. I think
the basic idea for the Inquisition one is going to be very much a red-white pseudo-aggro deck. It's probably going to be quite aggro, but with some mid-range ability near the end.
Yeah.
So that it doesn't peter out.
Yeah, a lot more. And even just looking at the card art, it tends to be supported by that.
Yeah, it's probably going to be quite angry.
Very.
The werewolf deck, I'm trying to build around the idea of werewolves transforming and punishing people for trying to make them transform back, or just preventing them. What on earth is that?
That would be a plane flying overhead.
What is a plane right outside your window?
I know, right? Isn't it fun?
Hell? But yeah, my deck is the werewolves is going to try and focus a little bit more strictly on not transforming back or punishing people for trying to make them turn back into humans, basically.
Where mine is more going to be very
humans stab, quick die now.
Basically, we're going to fight you down, we're going to kill you if we can.
It's probably going to be more of a we will pile up all the bodies we need to kill them.
Pretty much.
So probably a stairway made out of the trampled underlings of the mob or something.
What a beautiful thought.
Yeah. I mean, it fits with... that's the big thing about Innistrad was you start playing it and go, oh yeah, there's all these monsters and like trying to protect the humans, and then realizing that the humans are the real monsters. Okay then.
Yeah. Like that actually could be a fun thing to play with as well.
Yeah. It should be very interesting. I think we'll just have to wait and see how they turn out. We're gonna knock them out, like the actual decks, a little bit more closely together in a bit. But that will be what we're doing next episode.
Yes.
So, this episode, we were going to talk about the flavor of the different mechanics in Innistrad.
Yes.
So, mostly focusing on current, but maybe a little bit past. So, the big mechanics that we have right now are Madness, which is a sort of returning mechanic. We have Delirium.
Which is essentially, it's an exile mechanic based on card types in your graveyard.
Not
for Delirium.
It is what is referred to as Goyf Threshold. It looks at how many card types you have, and if you have a certain amount, then cards get bonus effects.
Yes, my bad. It's usually, the card I was looking at specifically had an exile effect with that. It's essentially it looks at your graveyard, and if you have 4 or more card types, you can get these special effects and bonuses.
Yeah. In most cases, this is something that actually appears in many sets, like Mirrodin, or Scars of Mirrodin, had Metalcraft. If you control 3 artifacts, then you get some sort of bonus. These are, I want to say it's an ability word. I have not looked at this recently, where technically the ability refers to the word is codified to refer to if these specific terms are met, then something happens, but it's not the same every time. Then I don't believe there are too many other mechanics beyond, obviously, the transform and the werewolf-specific transform clause. And
I mean,
clue tokens. Clues are a mechanic that we should talk about a little bit.
Yeah. That plays into the whole Jace is trying to find information.
Yeah, but it's also not just Jace, too. It's a bunch of other people as well.
Yeah, it's Avacyn. People trying to figure out what is going on with Avacyn. With Arlen Cord trying to figure out what is going on in her forest.
And if I can find it, there's actually a thing that has all of the clues art on them. So I'm going to see if I can pull that up, because they are very different. Like, there are tokens for all of them, and they're very cool.
Let me see if I can find some really cool cards that use these mechanics that we were just talking about, because...
Yeah.
Let's see.
I'm just trying to remember if there's one mechanic that we're forgetting, because I get the feeling there probably is.
Let me do a quick scan. I don't believe so. Those are the 2 that come to mind that are definite. There's Investigate, which is there's Investigate.
Yeah, that's the clues.
Yeah, Delirium. For example, like the card Traverse the Ulvenwald. So if you have 4, that is a 1 forest cost card. Which is a sorcery. Search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle your library. If you have 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard, instead search your library for a creature or land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle your library. So you can get stuff from this, which is kind of cool. Certain things, like just depending on your card, you can build more. You can build your army larger, or you can take out creatures that you think can be problematic for you, just based on the card itself. Let's see. Delirium.
So, the big thing, though, that we want to talk about more is what the flavor behind these mechanics is.
Yeah.
So, we've got 2 different big ones that really reflect on the biggest themes of the set, where we've got Madness and Delirium. So, Madness is, if this card would be discarded... what are the exact wordings on it now? Now I believe it is exile it, you then choose to pay either the Madness cost and cast it as though you had just played it from your hand, or you just discard it normally. The idea here being that in most cases, the game sort of treats your hand as though it is your, like, what is currently on your mind, things that you have, spells and things that you have ready. So this is losing little pieces of your mind, but getting some sort of incremental benefit out of it.
Precisely.
Yeah, in most cases, casting something for the Madness cost, it will cost less. In some cases, it actually will cost more, or will give you an option to like pay X where you couldn't before, like under the floorboards. I think normally is, I want to say it's 3 and a black, or is it 3 and 2 black?
Foreshadow, what was it? Under the floorboards?
Under the floorboards. I can just look it up, silly me.
No worries. I'm also pulling up, I'm trying to find a list of all the cards with madness on them, just to kind of give an example.
Oh, that's horrifying. Underthefloorboards.com is a thing. Oh, this is literally things people found under their floorboards. That's horrifying. Okay, the card is for 3 colorless and 2 black. Haha, I guessed it on the first try. Put 3 2/2 black zombie creature tokens onto the battlefield, tapped, and you gain 3 life. However, if you pay for it for the madness cost, it is X and 2 black, where, in this case, you get X 2/2 zombie tokens and gain X life. So, you could just pay 3 again and get 3 zombies, or you could pay more! Then, Delirium, I'm sort of interpreting as what's happening after you've done this a lot. Like, you're no longer just sort of going mad, you've gone off the deep end.
So instead of like little mini fits of madness, you're essentially existing in a fit of deliriousness.
Yeah, it is.
Or delirium.
It is turned on now. You cannot undo it without serious effort.
Yeah.
And this is where we start seeing... There's actually a really wonderful card that I think sums up what Delirium is in flavor perfectly, which I think I've actually mentioned on the show already. Last episode, maybe 2 episodes ago, is Reaper of Flight Moonsilver. As a normal card, it's just sort of meh. Like, it's not bad at all. Let me just pull up the actual card. I'm totally professional, and had that ready. No, I didn't. There we go. So, normally it is a 3/3 flying angel for 3 and 2 white. That's not bad, but it is by no means good. However, if you have Delirium, it gains the ability Sacrifice another creature. Reaper of Flight Moonsilver gets +2/+1 until end of turn. Activate this ability only if you have Delirium. This is literally, I think this is the exact stats of it too. Let me just make sure before I pull my head out of my butt. Yes, it is. So there is a card that is 3 colorless and 3 black, is also a creature angel, and is a 3/3 with flying, and has Sacrifice a creature and gain +2/+1. However, it's a black angel called Fallen Angel. This is literally white gaining a black ability because it's trying to go completely bonkers.
And I see that right here. Hello.
Yeah, I just very much like that as an idea.
It's definitely cool.
Yeah, it's that, especially it's pulling powers from its complete opposite, like one of its 2 enemy colors.
So another thing that kind of, I was going, while you were looking for the specific card and talking about Reaper of Flight Moonsilver, I was looking through the booster pack that I pulled. Because I know some of the things I pulled did have madness and some did have delirium. For example, the card Biting Rain. It's literally just a quick sorcery, -2/-2 until end of turn. So madness, the flavor text for this is on Innistrad, it is seldom wrong to stay indoors. It's kind of cool. It's cool to see how these new mechanics play into the story of the game. And how, essentially, people on Innistrad are starting to go a little bonkers.
A little bit. I mean, there's even more cards where it looks like people are starting to change or mutate in some way. Like, you can look at many different cards and start seeing weirder things. Like, I want to say it's the werewolf who's a forge person.
Oh, that guy. He had a story. It was sad.
No, oh yeah, I forgot about that one actually. But no, what's his name? Is it Ford? It's not Forge Stoker. That's totally been used.
It's a green card if that helps at all.
No, it's red.
Wait, are we thinking of the same card?
No, provably not.
I might be thinking of the wrong card.
I'm talking, I think it turns into Flameheart Werewolf.
Let's see. I know exactly what you're talking about. It's,
Kessig Forge Master. Yeah, Kessig Forge Master turns into Flameheart Werewolf.
Yes.
If you look at its art, that's not actually an image. Darn you, Cool Stuff. This is not... If you click to zoom in on a picture on Cool Stuff, it doesn't actually zoom in on my computer. If you look at this card, it has 2 right thumbs.
I totally just noticed that.
On I think it's their right hand. I can't see very close art here, but it looks like it's on the right hand on both images. But yeah, if you look through, there's weird stuff like this all over Innistrad now.
Just slightly wrong.
Yeah, we've got incorrigible youths with all of the, like, one dude has a tentacle, people have eyes where they don't belong.
Oh, there's an artifact for that.
There's magnifying glass where you're looking at an eye, a very, very tiny eye that is growing out of someone's shoulder.
Precisely, that's the one that I was thinking about.
Yeah, it's creepy.
Oh god, there was a card whose art was used in one of the stories. He's got the eye that's, like, weirdly bigger than another.
It was used in the Gitrog monster.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the card's name.
I'm trying to find it right now.
He's got a bunch of stuff messed up with him, actually.
Oh, it's behind the scenes. That's his name.
Yeah. Then,
oh gosh, that card's even creepier.
Yeah, as you move through, it seems like more and more people are having some sort of horrifying thing.
Exactly.
There's even I want to say it's Grotesque Mutation. It's a black card. I want to say it's the name would have me think that it's an enchantment.
It's an instant, so you're close.
Okay.
Ew.
That's so dumb.
Oh god, that's so gross.
Yeah, Grotesque Mutation, which is this taken way too far. Where someone I mean, the lifelink makes sense with that art. If you don't know what this is, it's an instant that is 1 colorless and a black. Target creature gets +3/+1 and gains lifelink until end of turn. They may or may not have a hand growing out of the center, or a mouth growing out of the center of their palm. And the rest of their hand isn't doing too much better either.
No, it was all weird and tentacly. Yeah. And the fact that they were hiding it under a pair of what looks like gloves.
Yeah, I bet that's probably a vampire, just because they tend to be noble-ish, or used to be.
I mean, even if you look slightly further down, Murderous Compulsion. Looks like there's something weird going on with the side of the head. It's a black card.
Yeah, I've actually got it right here as well.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing anything particularly, but I'm also seeing teeny tiny art.
Okay, so if you look at the side of the murderer's head, it looks like he has a growth on his neck and his face is twisted.
I couldn't tell if it was that or if it was just, like...
scarification?
Just weird lighting or that, yeah. But yeah, a lot of people seem to be kind of screwed up in at least some way. And then, I mean, we've also got... Here's another one for... Hair of Falconwrath is another one that... Technically, it's a madness enabler, but it still has to do with this idea of discarding is the loss of at least immediate control, where it's a 2/1 for 1 and a black, so it's a piker. Discard a card, transform Heir of Falconwrath, activate this ability only once each turn. I don't know why it actually has that anymore, because that would... Oh, so you can't just use it as a discard engine. Okay. When it turns into... Heir of the Night, which is a 3/2 flying vampire berserker.
That was one of my favorite cards. I brought that up to you.
Yeah, and that was the one where I had to show you that the negative space was used to make a bat.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Have you flipped Kindly Stranger yet? You should check out Kindly Stranger.
I remember that was a horrible one, but I don't remember what it does.
Just check it out, and just again.
I think she also has a horrifying mutation. I think it's something like double pinkies.
Well, if you look at that and then flip it, she becomes just terrifying in general.
Yeah, the demon-possessed witch.
Essentially, she goes from like this, oh, look, little one, let me make you some cookies or something.
No, do not talk to creepy old ladies out in the middle of the woods. It's a bad idea.
Oh, you don't talk to creepy old ladies who live in the woods?
No, never. Especially on Innistrad.
My bad.
But yeah, that's the basic idea, is you've got this madness is the short-term... burst of, like, I don't know why I did that. That was weird. And Delirium is the, I have succumbed. I don't care anymore. Just let's do this. Let's do this.
I mean, also if you look, let me pull up a card really quick with Madness, just because I have a theory about this. Like Madness, if you think about just Madness in general, it'd be a short-term thing, like a quick effect.
That's the
Whereas
idea.
Delirium, you have to have the cards built up in your graveyard to actually use it.
Yeah, it's the result of being mad for too long.
Yeah.
And
especially...
that's the sort of idea is that discard in general is supposed to be immediate, like, loss of concentration or something probing, like, the top of your thoughts, whereas milling, so taking the top card of your library and putting it directly into the graveyard, is supposed to be the idea of something actively breaking down your mind. Not just going, ooh, let's take this one little bit off the top of your head. It's just, no. Just, there goes your early childhood, there goes a little bit more, that sort of stuff.
Another good indication of that would be Pick the Brain.
Oh, I don't even remember what Pick the Brain does.
Oh, again, it's got that fantastic art that we both madly fell in love with.
Colorose art, and he doesn't get to do a ton each set, but he does some really good stuff.
This card is, so wonderful.
Yeah, he's wonderful, especially for lighting.
Yeah. So, Pick the Brain costs a swamp and 2 to cast. It's a black card. It's a sorcery. Target opponent reveals his or her hand. You choose a non-land card from it and exile the card. Delirium. If there are 4 or more card types among the cards in your graveyard, search that player's graveyard, hand, and library for any number of cards with the same name as the exiled card. Exile those cards, and then that player shuffles his or her library.
Yeah, it's a really good... This is very much the extreme of, little bit of, play with your head, and then it's when you have Delirium, so you're willing to go a little bit farther into this person's mind, it goes much, much worse for them.
Precisely. That's, it's see, I knew I would have stuff to talk about as we started talking.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then there's still sort of a human sub-theme, which is, I guess, its own sort of thing. It's that humans tend to band together in some way.
Yeah.
In some cases, it's because they're easy to sacrifice, but not always.
Or like an angry mob with torches.
Yeah, so far there is not a plain human, a jobless human card, but that didn't come in until later in original Innistrad, and they were all red because they were, jobless and angry about it.
Mm-hmm.
So far, the big things are just humans working together, angels mostly working against humans.
I mean, there's a card that literally is an unruly mob.
Yeah, well, that's one of the 3 cards that was reprinted from original Innistrad into this one.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We've got a weird thing that isn't so much mechanic, but is just interesting, where we've got the vampires becoming more, not so much militant, I guess, but actually joining together in a similar way that the humans are to form, I guess, basically militant, to become an army that is ready to defend not only Markov, but also just Innistrad itself from the angels and whatever Nahiri's doing.
Yeah, theme-wise, all of the humans have either a career or they're part of the mob.
Yeah. And
they're clerics, soldiers, and knights, primarily. Yeah. And then you've got the lovely mob, the angry mob.
Yeah, and remember that by mob, we do not mean, gang mob. We mean, a group of people who are looting.
They have torches and they have pitchforks.
Yeah, and at the same time, we've got... I like how in the first set, it was very much like the Ghoul Callers and the Stitchers, who made the black and the blue zombies, respectively, were just sort of oh yeah, the angels are gone, that makes our lives easier. Now they're just for some reason, the angels aren't able to... or they're mostly good about hiding from the angels, so they're just yeah, no, we've just been having fun and making new weird stuff.
Yeah, he's kind of weird.
They don't seem to care too much about the situation on Innistrad beyond just well, I mean, people are killing angels, so I can go use angels for my zombies now, so that's fun.
I have angel parts to use. So exciting.
I mean, the devils and demons seem to just sort of be okay with it. There is a cool new sub-thing with devils where we've got a bunch of... I think there's only 2 now, things that make these devil tokens that are 1/1s that when they die also deal 1 to a creature or player. But
Dance with Devils is one of them.
And then there's another one, but none of them just make 1. They all make a bunch.
Let's see,
so
2,
that might as well be a mechanic on its own.
Okay, the only one that doesn't so far that I'm looking at... Okay, there's 2 so far that I can see. There's Gibbering Fiend and Hulking Devil.
No, I'm just talking about the cards that make the devil tokens.
Oh, yeah, no, so those are sorceries. So that makes... The first one is Dance with Devils, and it's 2 1/1 devil tokens. And even if you kill it, it's still going to do damage.
Oh, yeah. And then there's Devil's Playground that makes 4.
Which is kind of...
Yeah.
And again, when you kill the devil, it's still going to hit you.
It's going to hit you, or more likely, it's one of those problems of it is a 1/1, but it's going to trade for anything with 2 toughness or less. It's basically, they are vindictive little buggers.
Exactly.
Like, you still have the link I sent, right? That has all the tokens? Yeah, like, they even look mean. I don't know how, but the devil token art has managed to set a femur on fire and is going to stab you with it.
This is true.
And then, really quickly, before we move on to anything else, I think this is going to be a fairly short episode just in general, because we don't have a big topic this time. By that, I mean we've only been going 40 minutes already. Is the clues, because there are 6 of them, and they're all supposed to be things that have happened, and most of them actually have flavor text from Tomio's journal.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you want to just bounce back and forth between them?
Okie doke. So our tokens.
Mm-hmm. Just the clue tokens.
Okay, so the first clue token is what looks like an amulet.
Yeah, so I don't recognize the symbol.
I don't either. That's the cool part. It's a round amulet, looks like it's made out of brass or some sort of a dull gold.
Or maybe wood.
And something, I wouldn't say wood, it's got too much gleam for wood, and it doesn't have any sort of graining.
I think the outside looks too clean for wood, but the inside might be wood.
Possibly. I'm trying to figure out the symbol on there, because that is a weird symbol.
Yeah, it's I'm not familiar with at all.
So it looks like, I'm just looking at the symbol, it looks like you have a circle, with what looks like claws coming off of it.
I was going to say J's, but that works too.
It looks kind of like clawed fingers is what it makes me think of. Like if you curled your fingers into a claw. Okay, I will agree with tentacles.
I'm totally not pushing something here.
I know, right? The flavor text on this card is, their chanting grows louder as the tide rises. And that's from Tomio's journal. Because something that's happening, which is a tie into the magic stories, is that the tide has gone wonky somehow.
It doesn't listen to the moon anymore.
Nope, no more. The moon is no longer doing stuff. Someone else is messing with it.
I also take back everything I said about wood, because I'm realizing that there are shells next to it. This was dropped, at a beach.
So it might be in the drown yard?
It probably is in the drown yard, because they would be the ones chanting about tides.
Yep.
So up next we have a bloody, giant feather of the purest snowy white covered in blood next to...
I know who that's from.
Or, there's a lot of them that are serving said person now. And it's laying on the bloodied arm of probably a dead person.
Yeah.
With angels came mysteries, Tomio's journal. So basically she's going, what the hell? Why are they killing people?
Okay, the next clue, looks like it's taking place at Markov Manor, like a chunk of Markov Manor that's currently falling apart. Yeah, so if you look at any of the cards that concern Markov Manor, you can see how it's currently falling apart, and chunks of it are floating in 0 gravity. So the flavor text on this, remember to have Genric search Markov Manor.
Well, so now we know why that guy was there.
Exactly.
And really quickly, because I've never heard of this person before, he is a blue-aligned astronomer from the plane of Innistrad who is widely respected but feared for what his knowledge might hold. He is believed to appear on... You're not going to tell me what this card is, are you? You're not. Oh, of course you're not. God darn it. Along with a particularly bare stretch of the Silver Beach looms a tall tower. The mortar has been mixed. Yeah, so he's an astronomer. He keeps away worlds with wards. There's nothing here that is not just he's an astronomer. And he apparently worked with Tomio in some way. Oh, he is on the card Lunar Mystic, and referred to on the card Towergeist. which is Generic's Tower is served by those who once sought to enter it uninvited. God damn. Generic's Tower is served by those who once sought to enter it uninvited. And then he appears in Lunar Mystic, which is 2 colorless and 2 blue, creature wizard, 2/2. Whenever you cast an instant, you may pay 1. If you do, draw a card. With the flavor text, I am pleased this world has learned the moon affects more than the tides. Tamio the Moon Sage.
Oh, wait. That explains how the journal got to Markov Manor.
Yes, it does.
Because wasn't it in the hands of a human?
Apparently it's this dude, who is now dead.
That question has now been answered.
Yes, it has.
That's cool. Alright, so the next...
it's a little bit weird that we have never heard of this person before. The next one is a cryptolith. It's rather literally just a cryptolith pointing to the right side of the page. With
Did you ever notice that they look like herons?
A little bit, yeah, and I think that's probably supposed to be part of it. And they also kind of look like slivers, but that probably has nothing to do with it. Because even slivers don't look like slivers anymore. And it does have like a weird blue mana-y fire sort of thing off the top of it, but not anything particularly amazing. For every answer, 3 questions. Which I actually kind of like, because there is the Tamio's Journal card, lets you sacrifice 3 clues, and go tutor up any card from your deck that you want.
Exactly.
I think it's just being silly, but whatever.
Okay, so the next clue, it looks like a scepter with the Avacyn, the temple, I guess it looks like the Lunarch Council symbol?
It's the Collar of Avacyn.
Thank you. The Collar of Avacyn on it. It looks like it's cracked and kind of old.
Looks like it's bent in
really
strange directions. Like, I can't describe how it's strange, but it feels strange.
And the flavor text for that is the symbols. When did they change?
And then finally we have what is actually a really strange piece of stained glass, because it is a stained glass piece of Avacyn, but it is like corrupted Avacyn. It is her hair stained with blood, her eyes are now pitch black, her armor is spiked. It's like someone made this since she went crazy, and it's now broken and lying on the ground, so Avacyn probably wasn't super happy about it.
It's kind of beautiful, though.
It is. It's a little bit creepy. I mean, there's also cracks, but I like how none of the cracks are actually focused on the center. You start to see them as you expand out. And there's a really nice use of shading where you can actually see the cobblestones underneath as well. And there's a strange symbol on the left bottom side that I have never seen before.
Too. Yeah, I don't know that symbol.
Yeah, and there's no reference to it at all, so I don't know. The statement here is, consider this, the shepherd turns on her flock. Why?
Ooh,
yeah.
That's cool.
I'm hoping that we'll get to see more clues and things as we move through, but we'll just have to kind of wait and see.
By the way, I did find the card that I was looking for.
Uh-huh.
So if you go look at the card Throttle.
Right, that got a reprint this set, didn't it?
The black card.
Hang on. That's from Khans Tarkir. Oh, right, it's the, like, devilish thing. Yeah. I'd probably call that more a demon. Oh yeah, more Raymond Swanland art.
I'm wondering what that is. I'm almost wondering if that's what's going to come through the portal.
I think that's just a demon, because we've seen some weird demons on Innistrad before.
Fair enough.
Victim discovered at dawn with mouth agape, eyes bulging, no evidence of blood loss or dismemberment, severe bruising around the neck. Vallon? Vallon, Thraben Inspector.
Vallon, I think.
I think there's actually a card for... yeah, there is a card, because it's actually being played a fair bit. It's Thraben Inspector that... I know on Monday Night Magic they cannot stop calling him, or her, technically.
This is the card we really liked.
This is the one that has, like, the weird blight on it, yeah. But
then it's like the beautiful disgust in her face.
Yeah, on Monday Night Magic they keep calling her... Oh, I can't do the full thing because it requires remembering what the Inspector Gadget theme is, but it's the like, beginning riff of it. Inspector. Except it's that, but Inspector Thraben.
Inspector Thraben, that thing?
Yeah, but just the one line. They just do like the first riff and then just Inspector Thraben.
Okay.
And it's in my head, but I cannot replicate it because I have no sense of rhythm at all. But yeah, she's actually a cool one. She's a cool one because she's very much you play me turn 1 and automatically, no matter what, you have a turn 2 play. She comes in, she gives you a clue, and you can sacrifice it to draw a card. Next turn.
Yeah. I am curious to see what's going to come next with this.
Me too. I'm wondering how they're going to play off these mechanics, because this is also the second set that we're going to see where they've had these, like, 2-set blocks. So, I'm waiting to see how it turns out.
I want to know how they're going to finish this. What is going to be... Yeah. I mean, we already know that Soren is going to have to destroy Avacyn.
But that happens in this set, so what's going to happen next set?
Yes.
It's going to be whatever Nahiri is planning is going to start, but I don't know how it's going to end.
I'm almost worried that it's going to backfire on her.
Maybe. I mean, we do also have a weird thing where there's this sort of... They don't cover it very much so far. I hope they actually come back to this part where there's basically a civil war going on between the humans, where you have the Lunarch Council that apparently is infiltrated by members of the Skursdag, the demon worshippers, and just in general, they're kind of going batty and are murdering people and committing inquisitions. Yeah, and then there's the crazy people summoning Ormondal. But then you have this other subsect of the people who are led by Thalia, not Thalia. That's an angel, I think.
Oh, no.
Oh, shoot.
Thalia.
Thalia. Sorry. I'm looking at Thalia's lieutenant, and for some reason couldn't think Thalia, who...
Like, she heads up the Thraben inspectors.
No, she heads up the... I want to say she called it the Knights of St. Traft? She named her new organization after St. Traft, specifically. It might actually say it on the card that now does what St. Traft... Invocation of St. Traft.
Hang on. Something weird.
Nope.
Go to the card Confront the Unknown.
Hang on. Okay, let's see.
Okay. So you know the figure on the right-hand side?
Maybe I can't spell.
Look at his shoulder piece.
Hang on.
Okay. It's a green card if that helps at all.
Are you sure it's Confront the Unknown?
Yes. Because I have the physical card in my hand right now.
Oh, that's weird. It wasn't showing up when I said the unknown, but Confront works fine. I have a small version of the art. Oh!
Yeah. You see it? On the right shoulder? Or look, I guess I'm looking at it on the right-hand side. It would be left.
No, yeah, so it is his left shoulder. So that is the symbol of the Inquisition on that clue.
Yeah.
I think. This might also... No. This is a cleric. We see someone in very similar garb. Oh, shoot, where did I just put it? In the tokens, there's a cleric token. And I've apparently closed that tab. There's a cleric token wearing something very similar.
Yeah.
Very bottom right of that page.
Yes,
so
I see,
this is
I'm
a
trying
cleric.
To find that symbol.
He doesn't have the symbol on him, he's just wearing similar clothing.
Yeah.
You don't see him from the side at all. So I think that might actually be one of these cultists. This is Thalia, one of Thalia's folks fighting the... Okay, I need to look up what this thing is. St. Traft.
I mean, it also looks like there's some crazy tentacles coming out of his face, off the side of his mask. And it looks like it's the top of the cryptoliths, his helmet, in Confront the Unknown.
The helmet, I agree.
It's similar...
I'm not seeing the tentacles, but I'm also not looking at super great art.
I have the card maybe 3 inches away from my face, because let's be honest, my eyesight's not the best.
Okay.
But I'm just studying it.
Okay, there's a thing from St. Traft. What is the name? God darn it. There's a... Oh, here we go. Finally found it. So on Tenacity, which is three colorless and 1 white, instant, uncommon. Creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain lifelink until end of turn. Untap those creatures. With the flavor text, Thalia established the Order of St. Traft in an effort to bring together Cathars who would stand against the corruption of the Lunarch Council. So she's pulling together the formerly religious members of the, basically, religious soldier army that the Lunarch Council had established and used to be necessary, and pulling them against the now announced Inquisitions. But it looks like she's also trying to deal with the cultists as well.
Oh my god, I just had a connection that just made itself known in my brain.
And
okay,
that was?
So, I will explain. In the very first story, Under the Silver Moon, so do you remember the Palters, Mr. and Mrs. Palter? Mrs. Palter was summoning the demon Ormondal.
Yep.
Mr. Palter used to be a Cathar, a Lunarch Cathar. And he gives the two main characters a talisman.
Oh.
Yes.
But that's not the symbol of the Lunarchs. That's the, cult symbol. Which I'm going to say continues to reinforce this whole okay, I just noticed what she meant about the symbol changing. Sorry. No, I didn't. I'm lying. The whatchamajigger. God, son of a... I don't remember anymore. I'm think that the symbol, now that we know it is tied to the cultists, I think reinforces that it's probably maybe Eldrazi. We'll have to wait and see. But I think
they might be coming. I think that is what I think she's trying to bring through. Because it feels...
at the very least, I think that's what she's trying to bring through. Not entirely sure if that's what she's going to successfully bring through, but we'll see.
Because it feels like she's building a portal to be like, you know what? You screwed up my plane, I'm going to screw up your plane.
Yup.
Feel the wrath. Sorry,
I'm looking through really quickly to see if I can find any more folks who have horrible mutations again. Just doing a really quick run through. I don't expect to find too many on a quick glance, but it's always worth a nice try. I must say that Always Watching is the most terrifying card ever.
Oh god, Human Rogue has an extra finger, it looks like.
Which one?
Coming out of his wrist. Tooth Collector.
Oh, yeah, he's a creepy dude.
It's beautiful. It's such a cool card. It's like if Doc Brown went nutty.
I still continue, dude, why do you need all these teeth?
But if you look at the bottom of the card, it looks like he has an extra finger growing out of his wrist.
Sorry, I'm moving through by color, so I was starting with white, and it looks like there aren't too many in white.
Makes sense.
Yeah, because they're mostly normal people.
Mm-hmm.
Invasive Surgery, that's horrifying.
Agreed.
Lamplighter of Selhoff is hilarious and wonderful. It's basically a Stitcher went, I need something to carry as many lamps as possible.
Seriously.
So, I'll give it a whole bunch of arms, and then stick some hands into its back just to make sure. There are not a ton of humans, or even, humanoid things in here, so that's not great. Yeah, so behind the scenes has a whole bunch of things screwed up. The guy in that also has webbed fingers.
Hey, Steven, I think the symbol that we were talking about?
The, circle with tentacle things?
Yeah, I think they're working for Nahiri.
Yeah, I don't know if they're working for Nahiri, but I think they are worshipping whatever she's trying to bring through.
White card Nahiri's, I hate this.
Machinations?
Machinations. The word machine is a sound, but it's like machinations.
Yeah,
but Nahiri's machinations has...
I think she is not so much having people work for her, so much as just they are following her, and it is suiting her needs right now.
Fair enough.
I don't think she really cares all that much about them, and will just walk away as soon as she's done.
I could see that happening.
Yeah, I'm still not seeing any more horribly mutated people. I mean...
Broken Concentration in blue is creepy. I mean, what color are you in right now?
I'm scrolling down to red, but again, I'm doing a really quick look over.
Broken Concentration's got some... Let's see... No...
I must say
there's
that
all
I
those
love...
lovely Stitcher monsters.
Yeah, but they probably weren't mutated. They were just screwed up by Stitchers.
Yeah,
I love
no, that's what I
Feldarin
was...
Duelist because he's just... One, he's way too happy. Two, he's literally like, I stab you, and he's throwing like a weighted cloak over you just to make sure that like you can't get away. It's like,
Yeah.
I have yet to find my equal. And just ignoring the fact that I am blatantly cheating. Looks like Byway Courier might be missing fingers on her left hand.
I mean, we talked about our lovely friend Grotesque Mutation already.
Yep. And I noticed
Murderous Compulsion.
Yeah, I'm not seeing...
I'd love to study that one, like, close up.
Might Beyond Reason. Dude has some screwed up stuff on him, but that's mostly because he seems to have some sort of, like, scaly freckles all over him. I think that's pretty much it. I'm surprised that Root Out isn't in some way related to... Well, I'm surprised that the art on Root Out is not used for clues, because it's like a rock tied to a true Abyssinian symbol. It just looks really interesting, and I don't know why we're not seeing something like that more. Because it's that sort of Kessig, we believe in Avacyn, but we
don't depend upon her as
we don't
much.
depend on her. We, like, make our way still.
It's that very much that northern, like, we got this, we'll handle it ourselves.
Yeah.
Like,
Death
Cap Cultivator. Did you look at that?
That, I think, is just a dude who lets his mushrooms grow on him because he's weird.
Okay, well, that's
plate looks sweet. It has nothing to do with mutations. It just looks sweet.
Which one?
Slayer's Plate. It's artifact equipment for 3. Equipped creature gets +4/+2 whenever equipped creature dies. If it was a human, put a 1/1 white spirit creature token onto the battlefield with flying onto the battlefield, and it equips for 3. It just seems like a really good card.
Yes. Okay. I think that really just kind of wraps up with, like, talking about the Madness Delirium mechanic and what it means for the storyline.
Yeah, I mean, there were other abilities in previous Innistrad, but that focused more on the whole, like, death and the humans being this not underprivileged, this, like, beaten down group, where you had...
Essentially, they're cattle.
Yeah, where you had, like, Morbid that would trigger off of... that was similar to Delirium, where it would trigger off of things dying in a turn, you'd get an extra bonus. Or, there was Fateful Hour, which was just dumb, because it was, you get an extra bonus if you're at 5 or less life. Like, if I'm at 5 or less life, I don't think one card is going to really help that much. It was not my favorite mechanic ever. Then we had Flashback, because we already have a bunch of things pulling stuff out of the graveyard. Might as well find a way to, like, pull spells out of the graveyard.
Exactly.
Thank God they didn't bring that back. It would have been bad. Mostly because...
Paired with... I was going to say mixed with Madness and Delirium, it could be kind of dangerous.
It's more of just, well, yeah, it would be dangerous, but then you also have to deal with the fact that you're bringing in an ability that... So whenever you cast a spell with Flashback from the graveyard, you exile it. Then you have to deal with all of the extra stuff of, oh, well, my opponents have Eldrazi, they can just, like, go, hey, that exiled stuff, put it back in your graveyard because I get an extra bonus, but now you can cast it again. So there's just so many reasons why that's a bad idea. And I'm glad they didn't do it. What were the other...
Would you like to know...
Oh, we did forget to talk about the werewolf one, but it's super quick and easy. It's supposed to be the, like, changing of the moon.
Yeah.
It's the... I guess the idea is that the 0... no one casts any spells is supposed to be a silent night where nothing should go wrong, but all of the werewolves transform.
Yeah.
And then the cast 2 spells is the coming of the next morning, when everything... You sort of have to look on and see, okay, how badly did things go?
Yeah. Let's see.
But I mean, thinking back at original Innistrad, yeah, they had the same werewolf transform mechanic. They had Morbid, they had Faithful Hour in Dark Ascension, Undying, which was pretty simple. The damn thing wouldn't stay dead. Avacyn Restored was sort of its own thing, but had that weird stuff with having... Oh, Lord, what's it called? Soul Bond, which was an entirely unique mechanic that I don't think they'll ever return to because it was just strange. It was cool, but it was really strange. And there was another one. Because they didn't have transform cards and they didn't have flashbacks, so they had to bring in another mechanic, and I just don't recall what it was. It didn't make a big impression.
I assumed as much.
Yeah, Avacyn Restored it wasn't a bad set by any means, it just wasn't the best set. Which is bad. Innistrad was amazing. And Dark Ascension was kind of dumb.
And I mean, Shadows over Innistrad is shaping up to be kind of a cool set.
Oh yeah,
so far.
Like I was kind of interested in Cons of Tarkir in general because yay, it's Cons, it's interesting. And then they kind of screwed up that world, and they've even admitted that they screwed up that world by leaving it with the dragons in control now. Yay. And then
that's not a good idea.
Yeah, and then Return to Zendikar was interesting. I really like Eldrazi, but at the same time, I don't know why, it just didn't grab me the same way. And I just did not care about Theros at all, so...
Yeah, you also just have, like, a general, like, hate for Jace.
Yeah, but Jace hasn't even been involved in most of this. I mean, he was involved in the Zendikar a little bit, but even then, it was basically he showed up at the end and went, I'm going to do a thing!
Let me touch it!
I'm gonna be involved in this story somehow. It's like he found the pattern for anchoring the Eldrazi to be completely physically locked into the world. Like, why did you find that out?
Yeah.
In someone's mind? Why didn't they share it?
Again, it's like, yay, white protagonist coming in and saving the day!
What?
Yay!
I mean, we already had literally the elf girl, the crazy fire woman, and the Gideon, who looks kind of white, but they finally started to fix it since he was supposed to be, were he from from our world, he's supposed to be like Indo-Iranian, I believe is the official story, because he's from Theros. So they've started to make him look more like that.
Kind of a mixture of like Greek, Mediterranean.
Yeah, sort of. I still love the way that Loading Ready Run just looks out and goes, like, he looks like a Chad, so we call him Chad.
I could totally see that.
And back when...
Oh my god.
The mana
Tiana refers to him as an anatomy display.
And then when the mana pool did, I think it was called Mythic Consultation, which were basically ask a question and they would write stuff for how certain planeswalkers would answer it, and it was wonderful because this was back when Sarkhan was completely batty. They had a running joke of like, yeah, he's been living in our bathroom for like 2 weeks, and then just they'd come back and it's like he's now moved into the dumpster and is shouting his demands into the building, and it was just, they made Gideon just be a bro, and it just felt so appropriate.
He looks like a bro. He really does, like a muscle-bound bro.
Yeah, and that's why Loading Ready Run called him Chad, because it's a very bro name.
He totally looks like a Chad.
Like, I'm pretty sure
I can approve.
Like, they were talking about how they have a like yearly snowboarding, skiing trip, and one year they did a feed dump from, which is their like goofy news show, from the hot tub, which is now a regular thing they do every year. They do this, but they were talking about how their upstairs neighbors during this ski trip, they're pretty sure like 4 of them were named Chad and were drinking the version, like whatever the Canadian version of just like Pabst Blue Ribbon, the stuff you can get for $1 for a 12-pack.
Oh god, like Natty Light.
Yeah, but the Canadian, whatever it is. And they were just like, throwing them down over. It's like, and we're pretty sure they're all named Chad except one guy. So
his name's Mark.
Probably, I don't remember. It was
something like Broy.
If you have not seen Loading Ready Run stuff, they're the folks who do Friday nights. You should check them out. They're very silly and funny. They also run a whole bunch of other stuff. Like, a lot. They stream basically every day of the week. I think that sort of got into final thought territory.
I think so.
Finish up before we head over to the remaining extra bits while I edit?
I mean, I think some cool stuff that I've listened to this weekend, like, so there's a podcast that I listened to recently. I listened to the first 3 episodes of it. It's called The Mysterious Secrets of Uncle Bertie's Botanarium.
I've never heard of it.
You need to listen to it. It is fantastic. The storyline is interesting. It's mostly narrated by Jermaine Clement, who's a part of Flight of the Conchords.
I was about to say, that name sounds remarkably familiar, but not in
yeah,
a way
it is.
I've listened to it, but that someone has probably told me. And if he's from
It
Flight
was
of the Conchords,
really
I can think of
good.
4 people who would have told me about him.
I mean, I don't really know any Flight of the Conchords music, but I will say that
some folks who really like it.
Yeah. The Mysterious Secrets of Uncle Bertie's Botanarium is awesome. It is like it's completely ridiculous. Oh my gosh. It takes place in 1768. So the main character is looking for the source of all pleasure in the world, heaven's clover. He's a botanist. And it's ridiculous, and it's funny, and it's incredibly well narrated, and they even have, like, sound effects and fantastic music, and it's wonderful, and the storyline is beautifully absurd. I know the first 3 episodes are free, just via your standard iTunes podcasting, and then the rest you can find on their website, howl.fm, and I think it's $5 for a monthly subscription, or $4.99 for a monthly subscription. And you get a bunch of other stuff. This is the same people who put on WTF by Mark Maron.
Wait, what? WTF by Mark Maron was just him. That was the whole thing. It was supposed to be him out of his garage.
But there's also extra content by him on this website, if you remember.
Weird. Sorry, I just don't care for him anymore.
I have his podcast downloaded, but I'm just kind of meh at this point. There's like 600 episodes to get through, and I don't have that kind of time, especially not when there's things to be re-listened to.
And there are certainly ones where if I hear that he's interviewing someone that I actually really care about, I'll be like, yeah. But most of the time, it's just sort of I don't care because he's going to hijack it somehow and end up talking about his stuff, and I don't care about his stuff anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I'm listening to it because I used to listen to it because he was a really good interviewer. Well, a good interviewer. And didn't focus on himself. But now he tries to, for a while there, he had a really bad habit of, oh, you did shows in New York? I used to live in New York for X amount of time, and I played at this place. Did you ever play at this place? Oh, you're not a comedian. Well, this place was this great comic club, and it would just ramble about his own past. But I think he got a lot. I've been led to believe that he got a bit better. I know that his interview with President Obama was actually pretty good.
That's always cool.
Like that one I listened to, went out of my way to listen to.
But yeah, let me see. Anything else I've listened to, watched, or read recently? I'm rewatching The Twilight Zone because, let's be honest, creepy is fun. You know I like creepy, macabre stuff. It's so beautiful.
Yep.
Let's see. Oh, new posts on neon.net on the blog. How to Hide a Body.
Yep, they are now.
Look at it. It's kind of fun.
They are regularly. It's a 10-part series that will be coming out every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 a.m. Central. No, Mountain Time. Mountain Time. Yeah. I'm trying to think if I've been doing anything because I mean, I just work and I work and I work, but then I come home
and I was traveling this weekend.
Yeah, I come home and then I record videos because. So we've got 2 different Let's Plays running right now. Right now, they come out both an episode on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We're probably going to change that up just so that there's always an episode coming out. Trying to do an Overwatch video a week, Overwatch lore video a week, but they take significantly more effort, and seeing as I'm still working full-time and looking at doing multiple jobs, yay, fun, it doesn't actually work out quite that well, but we're trying to do more of them. If you have any interest in Overwatch at all, I would suggest going and checking some of them out, because I think they're fairly interesting, and if the view numbers compared to the rest of my videos are any indication, they seem to be fairly interesting to other people. I mean, yep, please remember to check out all of our YouTube stuff at The Lair of Lore. Literally everything we do is going to go up on YouTube, including this podcast. Though, once again, still no video for that, because, frankly, this is mostly an audio thing. You can find us at nian.net, that's Niian. If you want to subscribe directly to us, there will be an RSS feed link in the show notes. It is just nian.net/lorecast/format equals RSS question mark, as it should be. That will include also on MTGcast, and if you want to help us out, at least pay for the site, and maybe get access to the Derpy Puppy feed, as well as the Bits and Bobs, which is the stuff we record before and after the show, which is where we go completely uncensored and just talk about whatever on earth we want to. You can give to patreon.com/layeroflore. Again, all of these are in the show notes. You can email us at info@neon.net. What is your Tumblr, Miriam?
princesspigolprocrastinator.tumblr.net.
Which is
and I can also
in
be
the show notes.
Yeah, I can also be reached through all of the various emails, which I believe it's info at... What was it? What's our email again?
Neon.net. I just said it.
info@neon.net.
Yes.
Yeah, I can also be reached at info@neon.net. Yeah, that's all I can think of that I have to add in for this
all the rest of
wind down.
Yeah, our Facebook, Twitters, my Twitter, all of that is in our show notes as well. Please feel free to check them all out. I don't think we've got too much more left to say. I mean, I haven't been watching or doing anything particularly interesting. We've been trying to figure out our new Netflix binging show recently, so we'll see if we ever actually come up with one.
And I've been organizing and finalizing my list for the 50 sci-fi movies. Oh, other news, there will be a mini draft that I will be helping with this upcoming weekend that I will probably mention sometime next week. Like the cool cards that were drawn, things like that, decks that were built.
Theoretically, if it's at a reasonable time, I will even be at that mini draft. Yay!
Look, gasp!
Yep. Finally get to play some Shadows over Innistrad, because I had to work during basically the entire time that there was a pre-release going on, and I just did not care to... There's a weird thing in Denver where a lot of places they'll do drafts, but they almost always play for picks. So you don't keep anything you actually draft, and I've never been a fan of that for no good reason, honestly.
Yeah.
So, But with that, I don't think we have anything else left for you, so please enjoy, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Thanks for listening.
Hey all, thank you very much for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and maybe check out all the other things that we do on our website and Patreon. If you really like us and want to help us out, you can support us on Patreon. For $1, you get access to our Derpy Puppy feed, where you can see videos and pictures like the one playing next to this, of my dogs just being spazzes. They physically cannot control it. They are nut bars. And for a little bit more, you could also get access to all of our videos, podcasts, blogs, literally anything we do that is not immediate news-related things, 24 to 48 hours early. So, Biolfin Tidehunter is amazing. I don't care. Evolved Kobold art is sweet. It's just not a good card. I don't think so. Darkshire Councilman, I think, is going to be a good card. I will point out that this is being recorded right after the set came out, so nothing is decided yet. But he's a 1/5 that gets bigger every time you play something. If you play him, and then the next turn you play a Biolfin Tidehunter, and then any other 1-drop creature, 1-drop minion, you suddenly have a 4/5 that you only pay 3 for, and now you get to swing. Cult Sorcerer, I actually haven't even seen this card yet. So, 3/2 for 2, spell damage is +1, whenever you cast a spell, give your Cthulhu +1/+1. I like that this is the mage version of the repeatable Cthulhu boost. I think it'll be decent. Blood of the Ancient One. This is literally a useless card without another one. Oh my god. It's a 9/9 for 9. If you control 2 of these at the end of your turn, merge them into the Ancient One, which I believe is a 20/20? It's something crazy like that. I don't remember off the top of my head. Anyway, thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.